The American dream of owning a home could be facing another hurdle. The National Association of Home Builders warns that 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum set to take effect next month could hurt housing affordability by pushing up the cost of construction materials. Here to react is Redfin CEO Glenn Kelman. Glenn, thanks for coming on the show all the way from Seattle. Good to see you.
Hey, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
So you have a 30,000-foot view of the housing market. It's a really interesting time. You've got rising inventories, but few sales, especially among existing homeowners, as we hold on to our low mortgage rates. Could you give us a sense of the state of the market?
Well, I think it shifted definitively toward a buyer's market. So a year ago, there just wasn't enough inventory, and still, inventory isn't very high, but demand is in retreat. And so we're seeing the days on market, the time it takes to sell a house, increase by about 15%. And so people who were once participating in bidding wars are now set to get a good deal. That's the change in 2025.
Well, that's some good news because I know they hate the mortgage rates, so that's nice to hear. One other cost issue, I assume you're keeping an eye on tariffs. We're hearing that it's possible more expensive aluminum and other materials could send prices up on new homes, at least. What's your sense of that?
Well, it's a double whammy, first because of the raw materials, but also because of the labor. So much of the labor comes from south of the border, and so the immigration crackdown could have an effect on that. Unnoticed has been a real boom in new construction, especially for apartment buildings. The reason that the rent is not too damn high, that actually rents have been flat over the past year, is because there has been so much construction, especially in the Sun Belt. It's had a real effect on rental affordability, and we hope that continues. But there are some clouds on the horizon there just because of the tariffs on raw materials and some of the labor supply issues.
So should I believe that renting might be looking like a better deal right now, given those factors and the new apartments coming online?
In 95% of US cities, it is more affordable to rent than it is to buy. But that sets aside the fact that, of course, if you buy a home, you can participate in long-term appreciation. But if you're just looking to get a roof over your head for the least amount of money, the best way to do that right now is to rent a house.
Yes, I forget the name of the economist, but he said that a house is a piggy bank you live in making the case for home ownership. There's always regional differences in housing. Are you seeing any particular areas that have good deals, any particular areas where it's really, really hard to buy?
Well, it's a tale of two markets. So, for example, in Cincinnati, there are still bidding wars, but in Jacksonville, it has shifted 100% to a buyer's market. So it really varies from market to market. Places like Austin, Texas are the ones that were most overvalued during the pandemic. And so there, the market is still in free fall, both to rent a home and to buy a home. There is a glut of inventory. And I never thought I'd say that in 2021 or 2022. So there are some places that are hotter than others. Another example is that Florida, 1 or 2 years ago, just had so much demand. There's still some demand for the inland areas of Florida, of Florida. But on the coast, people have become wary. They are worried about hurricanes. They are worried about being able to insure the house. Sometimes they want to buy a home, but they can't get a mortgage because that depends in turn on getting insurance, which has become impossible to buy or just very expensive.
Yeah, we've been writing a lot about that. That is definitely a big problem. Interesting news about Austin. You go down to South by Southwest. You can pick up a house while you're there. Two quick questions before we go. Real estate commission rules changed last year. Originally, people thought, oh my gosh, they're going to plummet. It hasn't really happened. What are you seeing?
Well, I feel a little silly about it because I was one of the people who thought that commissions could come down as a result of this rule change. It was a fairly seismic change that buyers now have to decide how much to pay their own agent. And in the fall of 2024, there was no change whatsoever. I would say that this home buying season, there has been some change because in the coastal markets where people are buying $2 or $3 million homes, especially if they're buying it with cash, they are not willing to pay an agent 3%. And so that is where we see the most price compression. That is where we see fees being negotiated most aggressively in a way that just wasn't that common a year ago.
Sure.
So it hasn't happened nationwide, but it is happening in places, especially at the high end with more educated, empowered buyers.
Understandable. We have to go, but I do need to ask you, You recently entered a partnership with Zillow that increased the speculation that there could be a marriage between your two companies. Any chance of a tie-up between Redfin and Zillow?
No, and we don't comment on public rumors.
Glenn, thanks so much for coming on the show. Great insights into the market. We'll see what happens.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Anytime.
Bye.